Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me today, as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And Randy Isbell is back again.
I'm glad to be back.
All right, guys. Well, last week we did our look back at 2023. We did our 25 top 25 games of the year, all of that stuff. You guys can go check it out on the channel or on podcasts. This week, it's already 2024. If you haven't noticed, hopefully everybody had a happy new year. Do you guys have a good New Year's?
Yeah, it was good.
It was boring but fun.
Yeah, same here. So now we're going to just look at our most anticipated games of 2024, and what we're excited about heading into this new year. Lots of games already coming out, big ones, in fact, really quick. Already in this month, and then going into next month, February. It feels like they decided that everything needed to come out in February, almost. So before we do that, though, I mean, there's one big news story, and we're gonna look at also like what we think, the big three are gonna do, and some other things. I guess we might as well start here. The elephant in the room for this year, pretty much. When, if, will it happen? The Nintendo Switch successor. A certain Dr. Serkan Toto, who's usually pretty good about these kind of projections, is saying that the Switch 2, or whatever it is going to be called, new Switch, Super Nintendo Switch, whatever your thing is going to be an iteration, not a revolution. It's going to cost $400 instead of $300. Most of the games are going to be $70, probably, but it will still be portable. Don't know about the backwards compatibility quite yet, obviously. Randy, I'll go to. Is this what you want out of a Switch 2? You want it to just be the next Switch, but prettier, or you wanted something different with the Switch?
Who knows? I mean, again, it's tough to speculate off of those informations. I still refuse to believe Nintendo will do anything like this because they never do. The closest thing they did was the Wii and the Wii U, and that completely failed. So while the Switch has sold just gangbusters, we said this about the Wii. Oh, the Wii is going to be like this forever, and they're just going to reiterate on it over and over and over. And we will see. Is it going to be a Switch HD system where it's backwards compatibility? That's the smart thing, but it's Nintendo. So even though we feel like we're within a year away from whatever this new system's going to be, and all the rumors are that it's going to be a lot like the Switch, I'll believe it when I see it, because we all are old enough to have seen all of the different things that Nintendo has done over the last 30, 40 years.
I mean, he also did confirm there was a Switch Pro, so all those rumors were true at one point, but probably due to the chip shortage and other things, it didn't happen. So they weren't lying. It just Nintendo just quietly decided, hey, we're not going to do it.
Well, honestly, maybe the Switch Pro is now just being called the Switch 2, and it's the exact same thing, but
right
now they want to make you pay more money for it.
Right. One of the things I think all three of us have talked about at one point or another is one of the big thing, and we've seen it with the PS5 Pro. It's also supposed to have this is kind of the big iteration is going to be that it has its own DLSS, which will make it to where it can go to 4K without having to be true 4K, and it doesn't have to use the hardware to do it. Especially because it has an NVIDIA chip, which that's NVIDIA's technology natively. Mark, do you think that this is going to help the Switch 2 catch up? Really do have that PS4 Pro type graphics, or where do you think this is going to land?
I think it'll probably just be PS4, not the Pro, just regular PS4. I'm gonna be backward compatible though, at least with most of the stuff. They can port over Mario Kart 8 again.
Do you think that would that be a deal breaker for you guys if, say, the Switch 2 comes out and there is no Switch backwards compatibility, making it the only system of the next gen that doesn't have that, would it be an issue for you if you can't play your Switch games on the Switch too?
It depends whether or not that Switch flash cart is going to work or not for that thing.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo's gonna make sure it doesn't work for that thing. Randy, I mean, what would that like damper your expectations for the Switch too?
It would be disappointing. I'm one that keeps all my old systems, so the backwards compatibility is not the biggest issue. But Nintendo has honestly done a pretty good job with some of this stuff for making things still kind of work. Obviously, when they changed their format, where it's kind of tough to get in. But the Wii U played Wii games, and I would expect some way were they to do that, especially with how big again the Switch was. But my whole thing is whatever they come out with, I want to believe that Nintendo's main plan is all those games that came out where it was like streaming only and it never worked. And oh, look at all these big games we have, but the Switch can't handle them. So you have to run them in this weird fashion. You have to have great internet. Hopefully, whatever the system is fixes that problem. And now all these bigger games that they try to port over, actually work on the system.
Yes, I'm hoping that too. It's still a crime that we got Kingdom Hearts on there and they're all freaking cloud based, and at least the first two should really have been on the system itself. I'm glad that they've gone away from that also. Like you don't really hear them saying, "Oh yeah, we have a bunch of cloud games." Like I think they finally figured out like, look, this doesn't really sell well, and it's actually hurting our business probably because people are thinking, "Oh, this is the only way I'm going to play new games. I'm not buying them for this thing." Speaking of handhelds, we just had another PC handheld announced, or not announced, but kind of like leaked today. The MSI is apparently making their own, and PlayStation had the Portal, and that thing has sold incredibly well considering that all it does is remote play. Um, Xbox has been a big touter of the cloud and everything else. Do you think that Microsoft maybe caves and says, you know what, we need to have one of those, our own proprietary one that's Xbox? Do you think we get an Xbox version of the Portal?
I hope so, but it's just the Zoom with an X instead of a Z.
Randy, you think we get one of those, or Microsoft is cool with just?
Can all these other PC portables play Game Pass? Right?
All of them except for Steam natively. You have to do a backdoor thing with the Steam Deck, but the rest of them, because they run Windows, yes, they can.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know Xbox doesn't want to put Game Pass on Sony and Nintendo stuff, but I think if they can allow all these other PC manufacturers to pay the price for all these portable consoles and make it work, and then they can throw Game Pass on all that stuff. We don't really need a portable system from Microsoft. They're doing a great job with their Game Pass and making it playable in so many different fashions. PlayStation, I really think, dropped the ball with their Portal. I attempted to do cloud gaming and stuff with them just in my house, and I can't do it. So I'm not going to get the Portal because it would absolutely not work.
Yeah,
Idaho internet is poor. We'll just say that. So I tested it, and just playing on a basic game, my phone lost its mind. So yeah, more portable
is
stuff
your
is
PS5
totally fine,
hardwired or no?
Yeah, it's all hardwired.
Okay.
It's just the internet is brutal. I get internet warnings when we do StreamYard, and I'm hardwired into my PC. So just the internet here is garbage.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't have necessarily much of a problem when I try to do the cloud. It probably helps also that my router is in my room, so when I'm playing it, I'm not that far from it. I know I can obviously understand the people that their internet is not as good, so it's not going to work as well. I have heard there's a difference between whether your PS5 is hardwired or not, whether it works as well. I never had a problem with the remote play when I've tried to do it. Let's say at my girlfriend's house, which is like 15 minutes away from where I live. It works just fine. I think it would be awesome if Xbox did something like that, though, because as somebody that does like to play remote play, I've thought about it a bunch of times with the Portal because it is really cool having a Switch, loving my Switch, loving having my Switch portable. I love having that thing in my hand and not having to like prop up my phone and do all this stuff that you have to do with it. And then if I get a notification, oh, there goes the game, like it's so much easier to have that thing in your hand. I've thought about it. I've asked Mark, like, which of those PC portables do you think is the best? Because I'm on a computer working all day. The last thing I want to do is come over to my laptop and then play a game. I'd rather go hold this thing in my hand, a controller or something, and go, okay, I'm going to play that. So I do think that the reason why these things are selling well is because a lot of people have that notion of I'd rather just play with this thing and not my PC or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think they will because I feel like we would have gotten an announcement by now. It would be a total shock if they did, but it'd be interesting if they did it.
Well, there's always been rumors. There's always been like a portable Xbox or whatever. I mean, that's for a year. I mean, for almost a decade, if not more. But
Yeah,
nothing ever happened. And I don't think Microsoft is a great hardware company.
yeah. I mean, look, the Series X one's great. The Series S for what it does one's great, but yeah, doing a handheld is a much different proposition. Obviously, but I mean, talking about these companies, what do you think? Like when you look at the outlook for PlayStation this year, Randy, you're the big PlayStation guy. Like, what are you excited about the most? Like, what do you see from them this year?
Honestly, I think this year's going to be a slower year for Sony. They may try to get something out in the fall, and I don't think we're not going to get anything from their first party studios, especially in the second half of the year. But I really think that their message is going to be 2025 is going to be a banger, and it's just one of those weird situations that they found themselves in, and we are still kind of right at that tail end of what COVID messed up. Is the schedules got a bit weird. That's why 2023 was so stacked with games, and even the beginning of 2024. But for Sony, just the way everything has fallen out, and obviously their focus on the multiplayer games and Last of Us factions falling apart and that vision kind of going awry before a lot of these games even see the light of day has kind of put them a bit behind the times. And Jim Ryan leaving will kind of push things as well. So I think 2024 is going to be pretty quiet as far as Sony goes. But with any of their state of plays or whatever they do around what used to be the E3 time, I think the entire message is going to be it's quiet now, but look what's coming in the next 12 to 24 months, and please get excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were showing me the that they had the trailer that they released, I think a couple of days ago or today even, of the games that they have coming. A lot of them are jammed into the first 3 months, basically.
Yeah.
And then
it's the first 3 months, and many games where I'm like, that's actually coming out this year. Like zero release dates, or we have not heard from them in years. But hey, please get hyped because we have to have something on our system.
Right. A lot of third party. There's not and exclusives that they have deals with, or something like Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin, where they're doing the production side, Helldivers too, that kind of thing. Mark, is there something like you're expecting from Sony this year? Anything surprising?
This is the year they finally bring back Kevin Butler.
Yeah, they need that.
Now that Jim Ryan's
force.
gone, yeah, they need to have a charismatic man in the position. Yeah, I mean, like Randy said, like they haven't really announced a ton of stuff past March. I mean, so far the biggest game probably this year is going to be that Last of Us 2 thing, and it's like that's not great if you're relying on that, at least at the moment. But I mean, they might have that Venom thing out later this year. If that is rumored to come out this year. But like a pretty slow year, but compared to like last year, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, last year, if we're gonna talk about exclusives, they had the Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 16 and a few others, but they didn't have this like monster year of releases. But I mean, that worked out for them fine. They were still outselling Xbox and doing all the things they do. Speaking of news, do you think we do get that PS5 Pro before the year is over? Or?
No.
Announced maybe, but I don't know if it'll come out by the end of the year.
I think we'll have much greater chance of seeing that Xbox, the tin can model.
Okay. Yeah, I'm of the. I would hope that they understand that. Although I'm sure people will buy it. I'm sure if it really does have the DLSS and all that stuff that they're touting, there will be people that always love to have the newest thing and they'll buy it. But I think if we're looking at the reality of, I don't think we've really had that many games that have taken advantage of this is the PS5 and this is what it can do. And then you're already going to release another thing that is more powerful and you're going to tell people, hey, buy this thing. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit not kind of reading the room and understanding that this is we're still in a bad economy, recession happening, all that. So people don't have a ton of money. Let's focus on the games and getting people hyped up for the games and what's coming next for your I mean, there's so many studios now that are supposedly working on games and service. Are they still going to be doing that? What are we doing? And
you guys have better memory than I do. Was there a big IP that came out when the PS4 Pro came out, or did it just kind of come into a dead period?
Wasn't that like Horizon, or is that like a patch? I think that might have been a patch, but it was like, oh, this looks way better now with the Pro. That's the only one I can kind of think of.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking too. Because with it looking like it's going to be a quiet year, I'd almost feel like it would be this next big IP, whether it's like the next God of War or Ghost of Tsushima 2 or something, is coming out, but it looks so much better on the PS5 Pro if you want to get that, and then they kind of can bundle that all together. I've really honestly felt like both Xbox and Sony are waiting to release their next 0.5s or whatever based around Grand Theft Auto 6 and how beefy that game is going to be. So exactly. I'm with Mark. I do think Xbox has the better chance of coming out at the end of this year just to try to get the head start.
Yeah.
But I do think both of them would really like to have their 0.5s out at or around whenever Grand Theft Auto 6 launches next year.
Yeah, that would make it around 2025 then, because we don't even know if Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out in 2025 or not, because it's not like they don't delay those big games like that. So,
I mean, that thing looks pretty far along, that trailer. So
you think so? Okay.
Yeah, I think the craziness though, people speculating it's going to cost $100 is bananas.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's one game that can command that. It would be Grand Theft Auto 6. And people will gladly pay it because they know that they're going to get thousands of hours of entertainment. I don't like the prospect of what that means once you have somebody do it. What stops everybody else from doing it, right? So, I mean, I worry about that as well. It's like, are we going to start pricing people out of video games where it's like every game costs $100? I don't know, man. You're really going to start making me think about what games. I mean, I already have to do that with $70. You put $30 more on there. That's really making me have to choose about what game I'm buying. It might be only one, maybe two a whole year, and then everything is waiting for sales. And then how does that really help you if people are not buying things at launch when that's when you still need people to buy things? If everybody's buying your game when it comes down to $60 or $70 because you priced it too high, what was the point, right? I'm worried about more negative things happening this year, like what we saw in 2023, than I am positive. Just because what we talked about before with the AAA gaming budgets going out of control and what is going to happen there? Are we going to start seeing smaller games get announced because of that? Like, is Sony going to open up a studio that's their only focus is to do AA type stuff? Is Xbox is kind of already doing that with Game Pass, but it'd be interesting to see what Sony does on that end. Are they going to start doing that? Is that their pivot from games as service where it costs too much to do this that much? So maybe we're going to shift some of those people off of that don't want to do multiplayer stuff and say, okay, you're going to start doing smaller budget things. Do they start remaking games that maybe, let's say, like a Jack and Daxter that Naughty Dog doesn't want to do, but somebody else, here, you do this, right?
Wasn't that Blue Point's point?
But you can't have Blue Point work on 5 games at once, right? You can have other studios that do what Blue Point does as well. So it'd be interesting to see what Sony does on that end too with the PlayStation. And do they think do they use PS Plus more? They have that there. They don't use it like they do, like Game Pass does. Do you see them doing anything different with that this year, Randy? I know you probably want them to do.
I would love them to. They honestly, they do a lot. I mean, it's not as much as Game Pass. The day one stuff that Xbox does is just unbeatable for the price that they do. But the 3 games you get for free for just having the base tier every month has been very hit or miss over the last couple of years. Always sucks for me. It's like, oh, that game's great, but I already have that one, and then such things happen. But it's the middle of the month for their second and third tier stuff. I still think their classics segment is just horrible, and I'm disappointed. They're finally getting into the Jet Moto stuff, so maybe we'll start getting the rest of those out. They got Twisted Metal out finally, but still, there's so many games that were on the original PlayStation that just should be on this service. They are trickling it out even slower than what Nintendo does, and that's horrible to say. But it's that second tier, I really think, where the money is at, and you get your best, value from, because they announce 7 to 12 games, and a lot of them are really fun. I almost end up playing more of those games than new games. That's why I had so much problems coming out with my top 10 last week, was because most of my time playing games were stuff that came out 2 or 3 years ago that I missed and they threw in there. So again, it's no Game Pass. It's not a Game Pass competitor. I would like them to do more and put their first party stuff out there at least sooner. Maybe like 6 months after the game comes out, the first party games will come out. We're still waiting on several of those to hit PlayStation Plus. So hopefully they bump it up a bit more, especially with, we all believe they're going to have a slower year with first party games coming out, but it's Sony, so I'm not going to believe it.
Mark, you think they might use it more this year to combat that a little bit, or?
It'd be nice, especially for the retro stuff, but no, not until they get someone like a CEO or someone who actually cares about that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I think the telling sign is the report that came out of those terrible ransomware attacks leaks from the Insomniac thing, is how much money they lost from putting Horizon, the second Horizon on there.
Forbidden West, yeah.
Yeah, they lost like 85 million in revenue that they could have got if they didn't put it on PS Plus. And I think Sony sees that. Now, I don't know how much of a bottom line person the next CEO is compared to Jim Ryan, but we know Jim Ryan was huge about that. I think they look at that and that scares them into doing that too quickly and how much money we lose. I mean, I think if they're going to tell people that are doing PC that they're not coming out with the game on PC for like 2 to 3 years, I think maybe getting it a year after it comes out on PS Plus is perhaps the earliest they'll do. But I do think the things that we saw last year, which you have your primo like indie games like Chia and Teardown and things like that, they could do more of those, right? Which that could help sell people on, oh, here's a new game. And Chia was actually really good. So if you have more of those, I think that's good too. It's a good like go between of, okay, you get a new game. Maybe it's not the biggest AAA release or whatever, but it's still something cool,
once Sony announces the new PlayStation CEO is Bobby Kotick, then you know everything will be all right.
Oh God. Could you imagine what a slap on the? I wonder how people would take that. I think a lot of people would be upset. But that would be amazing. But I think isn't he trying to like buy Paramount or Warner Brothers or something by himself?
Probably.
Right? Let's go on the other side. Their competitor, I guess, Xbox. Their big thing is they got the Activision Blizzard deal to go through, right? How long do you think it takes for them to announce this mobile gaming thing on their end? And how do you think it will integrate with Game Pass at all? Or are you even interested in it if they did, release something like that? Randy, like let's say they have a.
I just don't do mobile games. I feel so bad for the Switch. I'll play it from time to time, but it stays in its dock for the most part. I don't take advantage of the portability. A lot of it is just like if I'm leaving the house, it's going to work or it's going to get chores done and all that stuff. So it's not like I'm not somebody that goes out to like the park and wants to play a game. If I'm gonna play a game, I'm just gonna sit at my house. And I am lucky enough where my kids are very much into gaming. And again, I keep all the old systems and stuff, and we all have TVs in our room. So there's rarely a fight to try to take over the main TV. And if somebody's playing that, there's plenty of other stuff for me to play. So just portable gaming has just never really clicked to me. I totally get it. And I know that there's a big market for it. And Nintendo has shown it. So I could this be that big Xbox presentation in June where they go all out? That's possible. I also think that's when we'll see a lot of the Activision Blizzard games start hitting Game Pass. So that'll kind of be their another big selling point that they will have on their E3 show or whatever. It's going to be so weird not to even call it the E3 season because it's just we can't even pretend.
I think we're still going to call it that. We're still us old heads are going to call it that. Yeah,
I'm not calling it Summer Game Fest season. I refuse.
Yeah,
I think what they'll do is they'll announce some type of like Game Pass tie-in where it's like if you have Game Pass now you get like a 20% bonus in Candy Crush, or you might get more crap in Diablo Immortal or something like that. That's about the only extent.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like they can't just bring out like a Halo on like a mobile phone, and that'll never work, especially for how much they want to charge.
I mean, they already have the cloud for that. You can already do that technically.
But also, like most cell phone gamers aren't gonna like whip out a Bluetooth controller. Like they don't have that on them or anything. So,
I mean, they do try to put a lot of games with Game Pass with the touchscreen. And they continually update that. So I do give them props for that. Like every time I go in there and I happen to be at a doctor's office or something, and I'm not going to be like you, Mark. I'm not carrying a Bluetooth controller in my pocket with me. That just looks stupid. But I will pull out my phone and be like, okay, what's on Game Pass? Oh, what's available with the touchscreen? And then I'm kind of amazed that there's actually more and more games every time I go in it. Like today, I was with my father-in-law at his doctor's, and I pulled out my phone, and oh wait, there's like 5 more games that work with the touchscreen. So, that a credit to them for that, to making it the most usable thing that they possibly can. I think with Xbox also is with now that they have all these IPs, do they take advantage of that and start announcing things?
No,
with these IPs,
never. No, because they looked at how Fable and Perfect Dark went and went never again.
Okay, but seriously, we know that they're going to announce something with this. Like, what do you think it would be? You think the rumors of somebody's working on Banjo already? Is that going to be it? Do you think it's those rumors of Guitar Hero again? Like, what do you think that those Activision Blizzard IPs, which will be the first ones that they pull out?
It's interesting that we have a game coming out this year that kind of looks like the Guitar Hero stuff, and I know Fortnite had whatever mode that was kind of like that. It's weird that that's starting to come back, but it seems like a lot of these companies are trying to avoid actually having plastic instruments.
Yeah, well, they are in different ways. For the Fortnite one, they are. They are going to make the guitar controller.
Well,
So-
that makes sense, especially with
Yeah.
how many people still play Fortnite. But it would be interesting to see them try to get back Guitar Hero. But I'm 100% with Mark. Like, yes, they just got another large group of IPs that they can go through and come up with stuff. And yes, do I want another Banjo-Kazooie? 1000% I do. But like Mark said, we've been burnt far too many times with, hey, this game's going to come out. It's been 8 years. Where are we going with this?
Like, I mean, the big reason, one of the big reasons they touted is like, oh, you can get all these Activision Blizzard properties. It's like Microsoft already had properties you didn't do shit with. Like, why would you assume they're going to do anything with these? Like, I think they might make a new Tony Hawk eventually, but like, they already had, like, it's not like Activision owned Banjo-Kazooie. Like, that was always theirs. And well, not always, but since they bought Rare, it was theirs, and they didn't do crap. They made one game that was good, and that was it.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if Nuts and Bolts came out like way later. Because you can look at there is some similarities to some of the things you do in Tears of the Kingdom.
No, it's a 1-to-1 what you can do in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if that would have come out later, would that have been appreciated? Unlike Nuts and Bolts, where everybody just wanted Banjo-Kazooie 3 and it wasn't that. I do think that Phil Spencer has a point. While maybe Sony, and we're seeing it from Sony's end, right? Where Naughty Dog said, yo, we don't want to make your games a service thing, and we're not going to do it. And we're not going to sacrifice what we're doing to do the thing you want us to do. And Phil Spencer already kind of has that outlook of, I'm not going to force this studio to make a Banjo-Kazooie that doesn't want to make a Banjo-Kazooie. So now that you have Toys for Bob, who made their name making remasters and even new versions of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, maybe they are the ones that say, yeah, let us tackle Banjo-Kazooie, please. And I don't know if it's them or not, but I'm just saying
it should be. And I love what Phil Spencer says there, and that was the big reason I really loved this acquisition for Microsoft, is because studios like Toys for Bob went into situations they are not comfortable with. Like, people have their specialties, and for whatever reasons, companies want to mess with them and go, no, this is popular right now. So even though you're really good at this genre of game, this is popular, so go make it. And then Redfall happens because they're not used to making that kind of game, and the game's horrible, and then they get blamed for it. It's like, that's not what we do. It's like taking LeBron James and saying, now you're playing baseball. It doesn't work. It's like,
hey, tell Michael Jordan, he can do anything.
Yeah. As long as you stay in AA baseball.
Exactly. If you stay in the lower tier. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be a good year for Xbox. I mean, you still got Hellblade as well. You got some other games that we don't know if they're gonna come or not. So they have a lot of things to figure out there. Gonna be interesting to see what direction they take. And then of course, we talked about the Switch successor. Nintendo also has games that are like March, and then we don't know, right?
But that's always Nintendo, though.
Yeah. Well, it's true, but I mean, this year we have that looming thing of when are they going to announce the successor? Are they going to announce the successor? And do they just go ahead and go hog wild and just say, okay, everything that you thought was supposed to be coming like years ago is now coming, right? Like, do you think that those rumored Zelda remakes are coming? Do you think that the Metroid Prime 2 and 3 that we haven't seen anything are coming? Is Metroid Prime 4 going to show up before the end of the year? Like, where do you think we're at with Nintendo?
Let's go full pipe dream and just say these are all done, and they're just waiting for the Switch 2 to finally get.
I mean, technically, that's what they said about Metroid Prime 1, right? That it was done, and they were just sitting on
waiting. I think there's something else I've heard that is supposed to be done, and they just are just waiting for
the Zelda
right
ones.
moment.
Apparently, those are apparently done too, and they're just sitting on them.
So they're just waiting for the Switch 2 to finally get completely set up and ready to go, and a release date figured out, and all the details, and then they're going to just have this big blowout, a Nintendo Direct, and all of a sudden we're going to know exactly everything you're going to play in the second half of the year for Nintendo. But that's what they do. It's I mean, it's weird with Sony and Microsoft that we really don't know what's happening, especially in the second half of this year. But for Nintendo, they really go 3 months at a time, and we'll get a Direct probably next month, if that'll set you up until June, and then we'll get another one in May, and then that'll set up the rest of the summer and a little bit of the fall. That's Nintendo really does a great, and I give them full props, and they do a great job of, here's like one game maybe that'll come out next year and get hyped about this, please. But everything else, it's coming out in this window. You've not even heard of this game yet, but it's coming out shortly. And then Xbox and Sony are like, hey, Wolverine will come out in 18 years. Beyond an Evil.
That's never coming.
Never.
Yeah.
Fable, we brought up the screen 5 years ago. We showed a Giant 2 years ago. We've yet to show you gameplay, but please continue to get hyped about things. And that's what I like about Nintendo. It's here. You don't know what's happening? Here's what's happening. Here's a whole list of things that'll come out in the next 3 months.
I think of those Metroid and those Zelda things are going to happen this year. The Switch 2 better be backward compatible.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you are going to be releasing remasters and things like that, I think that definitely shows your hand. I wonder when we're going to get some kind of announcement. Are they going to wait till Summer Game Fest time to do that, and then they release in the fall? Are they going to announce in the fall and then release in the spring of next year?
They should hire Reggie back just to announce it.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Please come back just to do that. That'd be great. But I do think we need to touch on the fact that obviously last year, 2023 was not just about the amazing games. It was also not a great time for the industry. And I feel like 2024 is going to be just as bad. I worry about that. I worry about maybe not so much acquisitions, but I do worry about like us seeing more layoffs and more studios kind of going down or things like that. I mean, are you guys concerned about those things at all? Do you think somebody's ripe to be acquired that we're just going to get shocked about one day? And
embraces more layoffs.
Right. Yeah, with Embracer Group, Embracer Group's going to lay off more and more people. Will we get an acquisition? Probably. I mean, it seems like that is just the new thing. Who gets acquired? Who knows? We've been trying to predict things for years. But it would not shock me that if we get another big acquisition over the next 12 months. But layoffs are going to happen. And there was one thing that you brought up earlier that really kind of just nails it home. And a lot of these companies are now going, okay, these AAA games are just so expensive to make. So now we want to make some lower budget games to try to work the cost out, maybe have one or two big games and then some smaller budget games just to kind of fill out the calendar year. Well, those smaller budget games don't need as many people to make. And then that will be their reasoning is to lay off more people. And it's the ugly thing about business. And last year was really rough about that. And I don't think 2024 is going to be a resurgence where all those people that lost jobs are going to get them back. And it's a weird time, I think, honestly, just with the economy in the state that it's in. And, COVID was a horrible thing. And with the whole world basically shutting down for a while, it was a weird time, but it has changed everything. Like companies have found different ways to save money because of the way they were able to work around, places being closed and having less people available to work. They learned that they didn't need as many people as they thought they needed, or they found cheaper ways to do this or that. And they're going to continue to make that work. And unfortunately, it's going to cost jobs. And you never like to hear that, but it's just kind of the way of the business world anymore.
One last thing before we get to the games. Something else that I've been seeing, reading a lot is that due to needing to be more safe, needing to know that your product that you're going to make is going to sell, we're going to see even more remakes and remasters instead of focus on new things.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you sit with this? Does this make you sad about gaming? Do you just kind of take it as a face value? Oh, well, they're doing it in movies all the time, so I guess why not games?
I mean, as long as the
Yeah,
remaster is good,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of for it, and it's a safer bet. But I mean, sometimes it's kind of a soulless cash grab, and sometimes it's needed.
right.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
honestly never had an issue with the remasters or the remakes, especially with what Capcom has been able to do.
Yeah,
I
I would say like
bring those
remaster,
on for sure.
remake, and remaster is different. Like a
Yeah.
remake is fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
again, if they do it well, like Capcom or hopefully this Metal Gear Solid thing,
Right.
sure. But remasters, I mean, they can be done incredibly lazily, or they can be done really well.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
and as Mark said, as long as they're done well with the remasters and they are just they're all cash grabs. Let's just throw it out there.
right,
And I totally understand. But as long as they are cash grabs to then fund other projects or in some cases test the market. Hey, this remaster of this game came out. If it does well, then maybe we need to bring this franchise back.
right.
I'm fine with that. If it's just well, we're waiting on this one game, so let's just throw out this whatever remaster. And like Mark says, we barely do anything with it. We just try to get some money, and then we're going to put it in our pockets and not, actually use it to build our company. Then those are the ones I have issues with.
Or it's the anniversary of this thing this
So
year,
just
30th
throw it out.
anniversary. Let's just make a remaster because people will be hyped and be
Right.
looking for the game, and then it's not great, So yes, exactly. I'm of that mold as well. Of let's if we're gonna do that and we're not gonna do the Final Fantasy or the Resident Evil thing and make them different, then we need to make sure that they're really good and really faithful. And the issue is too, sometimes these remakes can also cost you a lot of money. So if you're looking to save money, you got to kind of weigh that out as well. I think EA said that Dead Space remake was not cheap at all. So, can they afford to really do that and go bigger and bolder with two, which is arguably the even bigger game? That's the thing you kind of got to look at there as well. Doing these doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically going to get your money back. As Konami is already seeing with their sort of half-ass what is that Silent Hill Ascension thing that they're doing that it feels like nobody is talking about because nobody cares about it, and then you're still having Silent Hill 2 remake coming. So
Yeah, all
yeah,
I've heard about that Ascension thing is just super cash grab.
yeah, a
yeah,
total like
Horrible.
and it has like some of the most like AI like writing like
yeah,
possible.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's when like Voidburger on Twitter all she does like rant about the horrible writing. And the CEO
but
of the company is like, "Oh, we use we're not using AI writers." It's like if you're using real people to write, they need to be fired.
yeah, I wonder how much AI is also going to factor in this year as well. We had the finals come out recently, and they were apparently used AI voiceovers and things like that. So we'll see how that goes and how that because they still have the video game voice actors strike looming that could possibly happen as well. We had the writers and the Screen Actors Guild, so we'll see if that happens with the video game actors and all that. But let's go ahead and focus on the games of 2024. What everybody is here to be excited about and everything. Um, Mark, I guess we'll go around, do everybody's tens, and then if we have the sames, we can kind of just talk about it all at once there, and maybe you could throw in an honorable mention instead of the
Sure.
all, you know. So
Uh,
Mark, what is your number 10 game?
Homeworld 3.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's RTS. I think I think Randy Pitchford or Randy Pitchford Studio makes it now, or they like co-make it. But I like the I didn't play the remaster one, but I like the Desert to Karak one. And RTS games are pretty rare these days. So
Yeah.
especially science fiction ones. So
All right. I mean, I
not,
keep seeing the trailer for it like constantly.
yeah. I mean, I made a bigger list, so I'll also mention like and this is kind of nebulous if it's going to come out or not. But Lollipop Chainsaw Repop.
I'm sad that it's more of a remaster now instead of a remake.
Yeah.
But yes, that was
Well,
one of my favorite games from back
yeah, but at
then.
least it won't cost you $80 to buy it. So
Yeah, that's true too, right? Like, what do you care about more? Do you care about the fact that it's going to cost $70, or do you care about the fact that you know it's a cheaper remaster?
yeah.
So, Randy, what's your number 10 game there?
I've been bouncing around. I have a bit of a larger list, like Mark said, just throwing things at the wall that I found, whether they are coming out or believed to have come out. But I'm
Right.
excited for the remake of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Absolutely loved the first game. It looks like they've really revamped some stuff. Everything that they have done over there, I'm going to buy. Obviously, It Takes Two was my game of the year when that came out, and Brothers was phenomenal. And I played it alone the first time doing the dual stick stuff, and now I want to play it with Haley or possibly my son and let them experience the game as well. But Brothers was phenomenal, so I'm excited to play it again.
Do you think that it seems like this is more, they changed it up a bit. It's not it's sort of done in the same way. This is more of like, this is a co-op game now.
Well,
Are
they've
you cool?
added it where you can. I can't remember if you could play the first one co-op, but the first one was
No, it was single player
the
only.
whole feel was one brother was the left stick, one brother was the right stick. This one they've done it where you can still do that and get the feeling of it, but you can also play it co-op. I'm curious how that will make the story play out or how the story feels. Not to spoil it for anyone that's ever played it, but they do something in this game that felt amazing with just the way you played it by yourself. So adding the co-op makes it really great. But obviously, you see if you're watching the video stream, it comes out one day before another game I'm super excited about. So,
that's my only thing I worry about this game is like you're coming out at like the worst time possible.
Right.
But
I will play it. Will it
yeah.
be? It's either on the day it comes out or a couple of weeks later, but I will be playing it.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I went and looked and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff coming. I had to keep messing around with my list and being like, man, what are these 10 games that I really, really am excited about? And Replaced, every time I have seen this game, it absolutely looks incredible. If you haven't seen it at the various Xbox showcases, because it is supposed to be like a one of those Game Pass exclusive things. It's amazing to me, like what this looks like. It's like if you can somehow make pixel art even more like amazing, they somehow did that in this game. And it's it's a side scroller, but it's like dark and gritty and has this like very interesting premise, and it's like I want that. I want that to be out there now, and it feels like I thought it was going to come out last year, it didn't, and it feels like this year is going to be it for it. And man, I think if this hits, it's going to be one of those like indie darlings that we're all talking about when it comes to the game of the year stuff next year.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That is a game that I remember watching the trailer of now that you're playing it and totally forgot it existed. So add that to my honorable mentions. Make my 10 because I forgot all about it. But yes, I'm excited to play that game.
All right, Mark, what's your number 9 game there?
It's the one game that I'm sure is everyone on everyone else's list. Regency Solitaire 2.
Wow.
I have to delete it off mine now. Gosh.
Yep.
Is it really a solitaire game?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark loved the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's solitaire, but like all the levels are like in different patterns. So it's not like, the traditional like row-based solitaire.
Okay.
But yeah, I like the first one a whole lot. The other two games the guy made, one of them was a little too story focused, and the other was a little too solitaire focused, I guess. So I hope Regency Solitaire 2 kind of strikes the right balance of what it should do. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should come out this year because the guy's, almost done with it, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, not knocking you at all, because any Picross game that ever comes out, I end up having to buy. So I totally get it.
Yep.
All right, Randy, what's your next one?
Mine. Very excited for this. It might be one of the most played game I'll play on the Switch next year. Mario versus Donkey Kong. Bring me back that old school puzzle platform feel. Everyone that ever watches this show, when I'm able to come on, I always talk about how much I love puzzle games, and especially puzzle platformers are always my jam. So getting more puzzles from that old Game Boy game, just absolutely, just give it to me right now. I'm ready to go. Once again, it's in that stupid window in these first 3 months, so who knows when I'll actually play it. But very, very excited to play more of this. And this is a perfect game, I think, even for me, where I will take the Switch out of the dock and it'll be one where I'm just lounging in bed or whatever and play.
Yeah, because it was originally like a 3DS game, right? Or
no, Mario Donkey Kong 94 is a Game Boy game that just kind of goes around. And then they had more games come out, like you said, I believe on the 3DS that were very much similar to it.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's one of those like that I'm kind of iffy on. I think I'm definitely gonna wait to see what reviews are for it because there's a lot of Mario stuff coming this year if you didn't know. And it's like you said, it's in that time frame where it's like, man, there's so many other games, like can't possibly buy everything, but this looks cool too.
Just watching this gameplay just makes me realize I need more Captain Toad Treasure Tracker in my life. Dude.
That game, yes,
that game needs a sequel. Nintendo, let's go.
That's definitely one that I think if they announce it on Switch 2, people are going to be excited.
Yes.
Let's do it, Nintendo. All right. For me, the next one, probably another one of these that's going to be indie darling. The first time I saw the trailer, I was like, I need to have this game right now. Plucky Squire.
Oh, yes.
It looked so awesome. It looks like it's just like, this regular like 2D adventure game done with Zelda, and then all of a sudden it goes 3D, and it's like, holy crap, I didn't know you could do this. And it's so cool. We don't get games like this. It's very inventive, very different from like something you would expect. And then I love that this exists and that it's going to be a game, and hopefully it really does come out this year because I can't wait for it.
Yeah, you see the beginning of this trailer and it looks a lot like what was the indie game where you painted? Black. What did you say, Mark?
Concrete Genie?
No, I mean, that one was you paint too, but when they had that same 2D art style, it came out like 2 or 3 years ago. Now I'm blanking on it, but it kind of reminded me of that. And like you said, it goes 3D, and then you start having the crazy stuff going all over the place. I'm with you. This was number 4 on my list. I am hyped for this game.
Yeah, I really hope it's gonna be as awesome as advertised because it looks so much fun. And yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, so hopefully for sure it's coming. It's supposed to come out in 2023, and hopefully it is coming this year for sure.
Oh, Chicory was the game I was thinking.
Chicory, yes. That they also have a game that's kind of like very much like Chicory called Ite that's coming. Except it doesn't have the sort of like that same story type arc, but it is very much like, oh, the world is gray and you're gonna paint it and stuff like that. So there's one to look out for there. Mark, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Helldivers 2.
Hey, there you go. The big Sony game.
I was talking to Jens about it last night, and I was like, imagine if EDF wasn't shitty.
They are going to have an EDF6, right,
Yeah,
this year.
right. I didn't play the first one. I know it's like top down. But this one looks really good. It looks like the Starship Troopers game I always would want to play. I hope co-op is good, and I hope the performance is good because it looks like very intensive graphically. So, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one. I guess this starts off their role of let's see if we can make this a service game kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot. This is a game that I liked a lot. Helldivers 1 when it first came out, so it's kind of on my. I don't know. I might play it, might not, kind of thing. But yeah, I bet this will definitely get some big things from Sony when this comes out, and people are going to be excited. Are you excited for this, Randy, at all? Or?
Yeah, I never played the first one. I'm not a big first person shooter guy, so probably not.
No, the first one is top down.
Well, I
Yeah.
know, I know. I just haven't played the
Oh.
first one, but this new version, just I'm not big on.
Yeah, fair enough. Randy, what's your number 8 game there?
My number 8, give me Little Nightmares 3. I know there's a lot of issues going on behind the scenes and different developers and different people running it, but I love the first two. The second one kind of leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger, though I think it set more up with the first one. And again, puzzle platformer, a lot of stuff going on, just creepy graphics that go along with it. So I absolutely love this series and excited to play a third one.
Yeah, I also am a big Little Nightmares fan. So the fact that we're getting a third game and it seems like they just announced it that quick is awesome. I'm probably not going to play when it first comes out, but it will definitely be one of those that before the year is out, I'm going to go check that out. So yeah, hopefully it hits just as good as 1 and 2 did. And we're talking about another great one in this really cool series that I'm glad still exists. The art style in this game is still like really unmatched for me. Like, the number 8 game for me, Stellar Blade. Just every time I see this game, the action looks so freaking awesome. It's the kind of game that I love. Just you have cool character doing cool stuff, destroying things. Let's see where the story goes or whatever they're gonna do with it. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it does come out this year because this is another one of those that it feels like was supposed to come out last year and then it didn't. It got delayed, and it's crazy that they've been showing this thing. I think since like the PS5 was like supposed to come out like during the first showcase, didn't they show this, or at least in the second one? So yeah, man, please come out this year because I want to play it. It looks awesome every time I see it. Either one of you have interest in this at all, or
no?
Nope,
not really. It'd be nice.
All
I mean,
right.
it looks okay, but reminds you like G Police or something.
G Police. All right, Mark, what's your next game?
My number 7 is The Wolf Among Us 2.
You think that's actually going to come out this year?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Telltale. I think they're back to their one game per year model, hopefully, and they just finished The Expanse. So, I mean, I think this is their next game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is supposed to be there.
I don't think it'll finish this year. I think it'll come out this year. Like the first episode will hit, like the fall or winter maybe. But
were they? I think they were trying to not do the episodic format with this. I think they were going to try to just release it all together. But
who knows with them at this point?
Yeah.
I know The Expanse was episodic, but I really like the first one a lot. That's probably like one of their like last greatest games. I just hope they can kind of recapture some of that magic. But we'll see, because Telltale's kind of a weird company now.
Yeah, I absolutely loved Wolf Among Us 1. I think it is, when you look at like the overall everything they've done with that, perhaps aside from the first season of Walking Dead, their best story. And then to have this come out and hopefully it can eclipse that or be this similar.
I guess you're
Yeah.
forgetting about their Game of Thrones series.
Oh my lord, let's not bring that
The most
up.
needless thing ever. Yeah.
Randy, are you on this at all?
No, I need to go back and play. I never even played the first one. I'm with you guys. I played The Walking Dead season 1. I think I played season 2 as well. Game of Thrones. I think I maybe made it to episode 3 before I just gave up.
Yeah,
you made it 3 episodes further than I did. I mean, I saw that thing. I was like, nope.
It was as bad as it looked.
Yeah, for sure. Randy, what's your next?
My number 7 is one I'm hesitantly excited about because this definitely could be a game that comes out and just bombs and they completely miss the mark and everything is horrible about it. Or it's going to be fantastic. Alone in the Dark. Bring back that franchise. The trailer gives me hope that it's going to be that campy, over-the-top, goofy horror that I'm wanting from this series. The weird characters that they show add in with some horror stuff. That's what I'm hoping for. Obviously, if the stuff doesn't land or everything is just kind of off, then I would not be surprised if like the Metacritic score of this game is like in the 50s. But I'm hopeful for it. I hope that they nail it. But this is one that is, I'm like you with Mario versus Donkey Kong. I will wait for the reviews to come out, but I am optimistic about this game.
I mean, this is also what the 3rd version of Alone in the Dark. This is another reboot. Of course, this is another Embracer joint. So
yeah, which is why I'm worried.
It's either going to be the start of the franchise or it's going to make people wish that this didn't come out.
Alone in the Dark's always been like the weirdest franchise because it's it has like this weird fan following kind of, but like I don't think any of their games are good. Or like
the first one,
fair. It's fair.
Yeah, I don't find like negative. I mean, it's always been kind of interesting, and hey, we got an Uwe Boll movie out of it, so
yeah.
But like, it always seemed like this. I wouldn't say knockoff because they were developed on at the same time. But there's a weird like Resident Evil, B tier or C movie tier like version of it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Alone in the Dark came out and then Resident Evil just took sort of similar concepts and then ran with it and became the bigger franchise, right? Where Alone in the Dark is kind of like people look at it as it was supposed to be one of the forefathers. Like, why are people just like not into this? And it's like, well, I mean it didn't do as well. So I do hope it does well just because I want to be able to see the fans of the franchise have their game that they point to and say, okay, let's have more of these. But
you got a good one.
Right.
Yeah, finally. You got a good one. Finally, yes.
Yeah, if they nail it, I guarantee you it's a top 5 game of the year on my list. But I would not bet on it because again, Alone in the Dark does not have the greatest history, but it's one of those games. Maybe if this was the most intriguing list, it would be even higher on my list. But I'm hoping I'm hoping they hit it. I'm hoping it works.
Right.
Yeah, definitely for you, Randy. I hope it works as well. The number 7 for me is technically the first big game of 2024. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Yeah. Stop stealing my list, Sean.
I'm not a huge Metroidvania person, but I love Prince of Persia, and I love that Sands of Time game. I was really pumped for them doing the remake, and then they kind of just made this. They delayed that and made this like 2D Metroidvania version, and this looks awesome. Like the gameplay looks so much fun, and it looks like the story's going to be cool, and I can't wait to do all the traversal stuff with this. Like, yeah, man, this looks great, and that it's coming so early too. Just and there's a demo coming also like next week, so. Yeah, man, this looks like it's going to be one of the first ones that we're going to be talking about. Hey, this game of the year, and then wait till we get to November and everybody forgets about it. Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee you, when we do our game of the year stuff, we're going to go, that came out this year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
it looks great, and like you said, it's coming out here very soon, and yeah, it'll be the
Yeah.
first game that I get in 2024.
I mean, I know people already have like review copies of it, so
Yes, I also know people that are doing review copies of this too. Yeah, I'm happy we're getting the demo so you can try it out and do that too. And of course, also if you don't want to spend all the money, you can just get Ubisoft Plus for a month and beat it and be done with it. So there's that too. I might consider doing that because I know I have Like a Dragon to buy a week later. So what's your number 6, Mark?
it's Expeditions, a Mud Runner game.
Oh
So this is
man, Mark and his Mud Runner.
Yeah.
this is like
Games.
Snow Runner sequel, but
Okay.
it looks a lot more exploration focused. So that's cool. It looks really nice, I think. Yeah, I just think I like Snow Runner a lot, so this will be my game of the year. I'm kidding. But I'll play it. I'll talk to Jens about it, and he'll hate it, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
The
You'll
number of
get
times the number of
Yeah, go
times
ahead.
I've seen Snow Runner on PS Plus and thought about giving it a try because Mark talks so highly about it. I just haven't
Yeah.
done it yet.
If it hits
Yes.
like $10, I'd say grab it.
Oh, it's
But
free. It's on
okay,
PlayStation
yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, I'd say give it a shot. Like it's not for everyone, but I find it like a oddly relaxing game. Same thing as
Yeah.
like, I've been playing a lot of that Power Wash Simulator thing.
Yeah.
That game is definitely that. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have the platinum if it wasn't glitched. I played a lot of that over a couple of weeks.
What glitched on it, or what was the problem?
It won't give me my story trophy.
Oh,
Why?
I beat all the story missions, but apparently there was an update that messed up the final video you get, and people online are saying because of that update you can't get your story trophy unless
That's
you go
cool.
back and
Oh,
play
that
the old ones.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
apparently, like, you beat the game originally and it was just showing pictures, and then the update made it where the little recap video you get,
Yeah.
they're supposed to play all of those at the end. Well, apparently with the update, it doesn't fix your beginning one. So
Oh,
the trophy goes,
Ah,
well, you didn't finish those, so no trophy for you. It's literally the only
that
trophy I have left in that game.
sucks.
And I don't
Yeah.
know if I want to go back and do it all again. But
Right.
I'm with you, Mark. Those kind of games, Power Wash Simulator, and what you're saying about Snow Runners are so fun just to listen to a podcast and play. So I
yeah.
totally get the appeal of it. And again, you're making me really think about just downloading it and giving it a try.
Like Jens and another friend of mine like don't understand the appeal because they call it like busy work, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not busy. Like it's the opposite of busy work.
You're doing a
It's like
task,
relaxed
right?
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's the perfect game to do something. It's like, I don't want to just sit down and stare at a wall and listen to a podcast for 3 hours, but listening to a podcast for 3 hours and doing something like that
Right.
kind of a game makes
that's
total
the
sense.
opposite of Jens. He'll just sit there and listen to Rush for 4 hours staring at the wall.
No, I'm the same
good.
way. For me to listen to a podcast, I got to be either driving in the car,
Yeah.
or I'm working. Like I don't do the whole sit in my room doing nothing, listen to podcasts. Like
Right.
I stopped listening to podcasts that much during the pandemic because I wasn't.
Yeah. You're not
I didn't.
going
I wasn't
anywhere.
able to do anything. So yeah. All right. Where are we going, Randy? You're next.
This one might be
game.
on one of your lists a bit higher up. I'm still unsure whether it's the style of game that I'm going to get into, but Rise of Ronin looks extremely fun to me. Looking at trailers last night, trying to come up with my list, just the whole. Is it samurai stuff? There's different.
It's samurai,
Samurai, yeah. Just I don't know if with the gun combat in there or whatever, or if it's just going to get too hard, or if it's a Souls-like game and it's just going to blow me out of the water.
So I'm gonna be honest with you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. The reason why it's not on my list is because it's very much like it feels like it's very much like Neo.
Yeah, but it just graphically looks really fun. Again, it might be a game that I bounce off of, but the trailers out there make it look really interesting. And honestly, there's been other games lately. Talked about it last week where I played the 2-hour demo of Baldur's Gate 3, and that's definitely not a game for me. but it hit all the boxes, and now I'm really thinking about finally going around and trying that game. And Rise of Ronin with the trailer kind of hit those boxes for me and connected the stuff with how much I really liked Ghost of Tsushima, and add that with this style of gameplay. Maybe it's the one that finally gets me into this kind of genre. So I'm looking forward to at least trying it out. Hopefully, like with some of these other games, they'll give me an hour or two demo and I can try things out and see if I really like it. But I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I love the whole aesthetic with the samurai and everything, and the story looks awesome. And it's just that whole. I don't know if I want to spend $70 on something that plays like Neo, and then I'm gonna be hitting my head against the wall trying
Unless
to.
it's a little more action packed, at
Yeah,
least, or action focused, like not quite as
like
methodical as Neo. So that's why I
I'm
wouldn't do
definitely
that.
going to wait to see how the reviews go, and then I'll wait. My only problem is also this comes out the same day as Dragon's Dogma 2, which I'm more excited about. And yeah, that's my issue too. It's like there's only so many games. And another game that's on my list also comes out the same day as well. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if I can spend 100 and or what is it would be like $200 on 3 games at once. But man, this game looks great, and I'm glad that Sony was able to add this to their lineup for sure. This is going to be, I think this is the last of their known games that we know for the 2024 so far. The next game on my list, Unicorn Overlord, which is the next Vanillaware game, which, if you know Vanillaware, the Odin Sphere, was it Aegis
13 Sentinels.
Aegis 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. They do games like that. They're known for their like really cool art style. Except for this one is like a tactics like strategy game. So I'm kind of I'm trying to be very optimistic, hoping that I'm not getting myself hyped for something that I wind up like not liking, because tactics games it's either like triangle strategy where I absolutely love the crap out of it, or like Fire Emblem where I wind up not liking it. So I'm hoping this is the former, and because of the art style and the people making it, I am really gonna like it. Yeah, but Unicorn Overlord looks really cool, and yeah, I'm hyped to get this when it comes out too. Mark, I know you like these kind of games.
I like some of them. I liked Grim Grimoire and the
Dragon's
Dragon
Crown,
one.
right?
Yeah, but I really dislike 13 Sentinels because of like the actual gameplay.
Fair enough. Yeah, that game is much more about the story than the gameplay.
Yeah, Jens kept typing it up. I'm like, this is not great to me. Like,
yes, that was Jens's game that year. Like he was so hyped on that game like crazy. I'm surprised he hasn't started talking to you about this game already, yeah. Mark. All right, Mark, what's your next
number
game?
5?
Yes.
Mine is Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Okay, yeah. The Suikoden.
Yeah, big Suikoden fan. This is the actual RPG one, not the like weird platformer that came out I think last year or 2 years ago.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the final Kickstarter one. I actually didn't back the Kickstarter, but I'll get this when it comes out. Yeah, I mean, I like Suikoden, so hopefully this lives up to that like reputation.
Yeah, this is going to be on Game Pass,
yeah,
as well. So we could all try it out. I'm kind of like Suikoden just was one of those games that like I was not playing RPGs that much when that game came out, and then obviously the inflated price that game has led to where I never tried it out. And so I was also kind of, when they did the Kickstarter, I was sort of kind of intrigued with this, but having been on Game Pass, definitely going to try it out for sure.
Yeah.
Randy, are you interested in this at all?
I'm loving this podcast. I didn't know this was even a thing. I was a big Suikoden fan on their PlayStation games 1 and 2, and
Yep.
they kind of lost me when they hit PS2, and then the series kind of left my radar. But I didn't even know this was a thing, and especially you saying it's on Game Pass. Again, add this to an honorable mention because I
Yeah,
want to
this
play
one
this one
comes
as
out a
well.
little bit later in April. I think like April
Yeah.
23rd. So.
And it looks good. So
I mean, it's not even on my list, but they're making that Suikoden 1 and 2 collection this year.
Yes,
That's
Konami's
finally
doing
coming
that.
out, so that'll be nice.
All right, Randy, what's your next one?
My number 5 was taken, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. So I'll go down to my honorable mentions and just throw one out there. I'm pretty sure if we did this podcast in 2019, the prequel to this game was on my list, and I never played it, even though I was excited for it. But they're going to get me again. Cat Quest 3 looks hilarious and fantastic, and I want to play it. I guarantee you, if you go back 4 years ago, I said the same thing about Cat Quest 2. Never, ever played it. But again, they get me with the trailer. It looks fantastic. Haley absolutely loved it as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Will I actually play it? We will see. But
yeah,
the trailer put a big smile on my face, and I would like to play it. That we will go there.
I love the fact that this is they just did a spoof on like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like I actually think I was offered to review Cat Quest 2 if I'm not mistaken. When it came out. But yeah, the fact that they just went full ham with Cat Quest 3, I think I remember was it Game Awards or Summer Game Fest trailer when they finally showed this, and it was like, okay, this is just having too much fun. I'm kind of interested.
Yes.
But yeah, this looks cool, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of people like Randy that are excited for this.
And actually play it this time.
Yes, play it first. All right, my next game, I'm pretty sure it's probably somewhere on Marc's list. Metaphor Refantasio, the going high fantasy for Persona. And it looks like it's going to be more actiony than the Persona games are. Not to mention, oh my god, the style that oozes out of this game is freaking amazing. Not sure if the fact that Microsoft is the one doing all of the press for it means that it's gonna be on Game Pass or not. But man, if it is, I'm playing it day one. Even if it's not, this game looks so freaking awesome. Like you can definitely, you obviously immediately as soon as they start showing gameplay of this thing, immediate that is made by the Persona folks, and they aren't bashful about telling you, and it looks great. Like this looks so freaking awesome, and I can't wait to play some of it, man. Just look at that freaking art style; it looks awesome.
It does look cool. I just kind of forgot about it though, or just announced it a few times.
It seems like it shouldn't be coming out this year. Like it should be like farther away, but it feels like I think it is.
I mean, it looks
coming for sure.
Pretty done. Or looks pretty, decently along.
Yeah, I just want to see them do something that's not just that's like we're out of the high school thing. Like, what could we do? Because there's so many people that ask, like, could we ever have a Persona game that's not in the high school setting, right? And I think this is that team saying, yeah, we can do it. It won't be Persona, but it'll be this.
Now it'll be high elves and furries. Let's go.
Yeah, this looks great. Randy, I don't know where you are with the Persona series.
I've bounced off that series a couple of times.
Yeah, understandable. Marc, what is your number 4?
So mine is actually a port, but that's fine. The Tomba HD or the
Marc
limited run port.
He loves Tomba.
Yeah, because I'm a correct thinking person. No,
add to my goddamn list. Another game I didn't know was a thing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope that Tomba 1 had a few small problems, like with the journal system, and you can kind of screw yourself over if you don't know certain things. I don't know if this is going to be a direct 1-to-1 port, or because they did say like the original director is working on this as well. So if it'll be like slightly enhanced or slightly less busted, but yeah, Tombow 1 is great. It's like I think it's like my second favorite Metroidvania game, like behind Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's like that good. So I'm eager for more people to play it, hopefully, and to get some stupid $200 limited run edition of it.
Yeah, I mean that like when they announced this, I remember watching that limited run thing, and I was just like, "Oh my god, Mark finally got what he's wanted forever."
Yeah,
Like,
forget the stupid Jurassic Park game collection. Like most of those games are terrible. So,
um, I mean,
but
speaking of this this whole thing, that I think I sent you the trailer, Randy. That something Asriel, whatever.
I don't
That's
know if
supposed
I
to be
actually
like
watched it yet.
it's like a basically like the and it's funny because they know what they're doing. The name of the studio is called CDI Software, but it's like CD Eyes, and they're
Oh God!
basically
Now that I'm watching this is hilarious.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
the it's like basically take the old Zelda CDI games, but let's actually try to make a good game out of it. And yeah, they announced that at the limited run thing too, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I forgot that's coming out. That should be uh that's gonna be an interesting one if it actually does come out. Like watched the trailer yesterday and I was like, I'm not gonna put this on my list, but it's definitely like one that
Right.
I'll be watching.
Yeah.
One for sure, the game that I mentioned that's also coming out the same day as Rise of Ronin and Dragon's Dogma 2, Princess Peach Showtime. Because why not let Princess Peach have her game? And this looks cool. It's like Princess Peach dressing up as different characters doing different things. Um and I just love that. I love the fact that we're giving Peach her own game and it's looks like a lot of freaking fun. Like, I don't know what you think about this, Randy, but when I saw it, I was like, yeah, totally down.
Honestly, I thought about putting this on my list as well, but I just don't know too much about it yet. I need another trailer that kind of really tries to sell me on it. It's great that Peach is getting her own game, but we will see. It's just that first trailer we got was decent enough, but I'm just still very curious what fully the game is yet.
Yeah, fair enough. There's still a part of me that's a little bit of like, what is this game exactly? But it's also part of
Mhm.
the intrigue too. Like,
Right.
you know, could they be doing some Paper Mario in there? What are they doing with this? Like,
Yeah,
just
because this is like March, right?
yeah, March
Yeah.
22nd.
Yeah, so we got to be getting something about it soon.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets like its own direct or something on there. All right, Mark, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is what the actual game I'm sure is everyone else's list, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's like 1 or 2 for the rest of
that
the other guys, but
that's number 1 for me. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
we can talk about that one later. So if you want to go on, we can go on to Randy now.
All right, Randy, what's your
Yeah.
number 3?
When Sean asked me for my 10 games at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I spread out to make it was the entire 10. That was my first list. I've changed my list, but my top 3 are just nostalgia based, and I've 2 of them are completely out of the blue. I did not think they were coming out this year, but that video I sent to Sean last night from Sony saying get ready for all the hype games we have in 2024 makes me believe maybe they will come out. First one for number 3, Silent Hill 2 remake. We've only really seen kind of the teaser trailer for it. We haven't gotten too much other than that, so which is why I'm kind of shocked it'll come out this year. My guess will be a near Halloween release, but Silent Hill 2 was phenomenal. I loved the first 3 Silent Hill games. Well, the first 4. I liked The Room. The Room was good. And then after The Room, it really kind of, that whole series completely fell off. And unfortunately, that weirdness that we talked about earlier with their Twitch game does not have me hopeful for all of the ideas that they have going out for the rest of them. But Silent Hill 2 is such a phenomenal game. So I'm excited to see what they could do with this and make it look even better. So if it does come out this year, it is a 100% must play for me.
Are you concerned at all about Bloober Team being the one that's working on it as
No,
opposed to?
absolutely not. I think when they got revealed as being the studio making it, I said I really liked the medium. I like the gameplay of the medium. I like the ideas they had. Their story was just bad. The story was rough and it really wasn't enthralling. But now Bloober Team has a story to work with. They don't have to come up with the story. So you put
Okay.
their gameplay with which wanted to be Silent Hill in the worst way already, and then you put the Silent Hill 2 story and atmosphere with it. I think this game's going to be awesome. And I think Bloober Team was the perfect team to do it.
Yeah, I've seen other people criticize Bloober Team, but it's like, okay, if you don't want them to do it, who is going to do it?
Yeah.
Because Konami certainly is going to do it. They don't have the people to do it anymore. So,
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Yeah, I mean, they are very passionate about that. They want to be the ones that really bring Silent Hill back and make it a thing. And I think that that's awesome that they are doing it. I'm glad that Konami went and got somebody that's passionate and wants to do this. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna be keeping my eye on it for sure. Hopefully, it is good. My next one is actually an indie game that I didn't know what to make of it when it got announced, but the more I keep seeing of it, the more I'm just like, oh my god, I gotta play this. Pacific Drive. And Sony's shown it on a few state of plays. It
Yeah,
is
that's that station wagon simulator.
exactly the station wagon survival game that you have to go out in the woods, try to get as far as you can, and like you also got to repair your station wagon and everything else. And it's like a really cool concept, and I love the fact that this exists. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that was my number 15 game, my list.
yeah,
And it does have like a story. Like I don't think it's like roguelike or like that type of thing. Like
right.
if you like go between garage and garage and like find out more about the past and what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I like that kind of mystery part about it as well. Like that's definitely got me intrigued here. So I'm excited for this for sure.
Yep.
All right. What's your number 2 game, Mark?
Mine is something I've been waiting for years for, and it's finally fucking coming out. Is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
How
the
long
wait
have
is
you had
finally
this
over.
this
Uh,
pre-ordered, Mark? Like,
well, not pre-order because they only took pre-orders, started like taking pre-orders like last year. But I think Yen showed me a trailer in 2017.
Jeez.
yep.
Yeah.
Platinum was working on this at one point and then not working on it.
Right.
And
Yeah, they like left, or I don't know what happened, and then Psy Games took over, or I mean, it might be CyberConnect. I don't know at this point.
yeah, it's side games, yeah.
Still looks good. I think Tales of Arise kind of stole a lot of its thunder because it looks like a lot of the same gameplay, but it looks incredibly like pretty, and it's funny because I don't care at all about Grand Blue as a property. Like, it means
Right.
nothing to me, but the gameplay just looks fun, and I hope the game finally comes out and it's good because I pre-ordered this $200 special edition, so damn well better be good.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is it's literally coming out like 3 days after this other game that I'm going to talk about at my number 2, and I'm worried it'll steal its thunder. Um, it looks really fun. I love the like scale of it and just obviously the anime-ness of it and all that stuff. Like this looks freaking great. Just yeah, I'm just worried about like can we have 2 RPGs like that?
Well, there's a third one
Especially
also around that same week as well. So
yeah, that too. But yeah, it looks freaking awesome, and I know there's a lot of people that have been waiting for this thing to come out for sure.
yeah,
Randy?
Yeah, I put this number 2 again because of the Sony video that came out. I do not believe it is coming out in 2024, but Metal Gear Solid
You
Delta,
don't? Okay.
I don't. They haven't really shown much still, and it's
yeah.
just
It's on my list, but it's down there, and I'm like, yeah, if this comes out, we'll see.
Yeah, I did not believe at all that it was going to come out 2024. It was not going to be on my original list until that video popped up. So I might as well just throw it on there. If it does, I'm absolutely playing it. From what we've seen, it looks great. Hopefully they push it to its limit. But the one thing am I remembering this right? That it's just the same, not voice cast, but just they're taking the voices from the original and throwing it in here, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
is
what they're doing.
disappointing and has me a bit worried that it's just gonna be a thrown together thing, but still graphically it looks phenomenal. So I've loved the Metal Gear Solid series. They really haven't done much wrong. I know without Kojima it'll be a bit wrong, but at least it's just a retold story. And I do wish it was the original that they were doing instead of 3. I
They
Snake
can just
Eater
port.
wasn't my
They can just
favorite
port
of the
over that
series.
GameCube one, man.
Yeah, I mean that was the one that I think a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
that
people
was
wanted them
Matrix.
to.
Right.
But yeah, so unlike Silent Hill, where I'm totally fine with them going 2 first because that was the better story and it was kind of the standalone story. Silent Hill 1 and 3 combined, and maybe they can do something there. But I really wish this was the original, not Snake Eater.
Yeah.
But I'll just take more Metal Gear Solid. Period.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't gotten that collection or whatever, Randy. For the
I got
I'll
that,
wait
but I
till
haven't
it's
played
cheaper.
it
It's
yet. Yeah.
I own all those games in multiple fashions. I don't know if I need to.
Yeah.
I need to count. I mean, I've just said Snake Eater was not my favorite of the series, and I think I own it on 5 different systems.
Wow. I think that.
So
I mean,
they just keep re-releasing this stupid thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the same with me with Final Fantasy VIII. I can't tell you how many versions of that I own, and it's not really one of my favorite Final Fantasies either. So yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat when it comes to that. One that I'm pretty sure is on Marc's list. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is my number 2 game.
It is, but it's actually it's pretty further down. It was like number 13 on mine.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I loved Like a Dragon Gaiden giving us that kind of peek into what Kiryu was doing all that time, and now we get the full-fledged Ichiban, the hero of Like a Dragon 7 with Kiryu. What are they going to do together in the US and Hawaii? Like, how amazing is this going to be? I can't wait for this game to come out and get to play it and get all those characters again and how they're all going to fit in. Just, I love the first game so much. So I'm hoping that this one gets the. It's apparently freaking huge. Also, it's gonna like take a long time to beat. They said,
Yeah.
so we'll see how that goes.
Yep. I just hope it's not too scummy with like all the DLC, like some of the past Yakuza games have been.
Yeah, they're gonna bring like how's the job system gonna work in this? Is it gonna be different than the other one? Or, yeah, we'll see. Randy, how are you? Are you gonna hop on the Like a Dragon?
No, they absolutely lost me with it's super long and too much. Like I played a bit of Like a Dragon. It was fun. I don't know how far I got into it. 10, 15 hours. It was fine. Judgment was all right. That.
Fair enough.
Or Like a Dragon series now.
Yeah.
Marc, what is your number 1 game that you're excited for this year?
To the surprise of no one, Persona 3 Reload.
Persona 3 Reload. Yeah, that is on my honorable mentions list. It is also going to be on Game Pass, so technically Randy can also try it out too, I guess. Yeah, they've been releasing a lot of this game.
Yeah, I saw the intro movie like last night. Looked really good.
Yeah, I'm hyped for this as well. I know, Marc, this is like your thing, Persona.
Yeah,
so.
February sucks for me because I ordered both collector's editions, so that's $400, and then the limited edition of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that's another $100.
Yeah, you got Grand Blue coming out literally like days before. You got
Right.
this. You got. I still don't understand why Sega. You own Sega and Atlas. Why are you coming out with Like a Dragon 1 week and then this the next week? It makes no sense. But they're doing it, so I guess it is what it is. How are you feeling, Mark, about the fact that they're not gonna? It's not a total remake. Like they are kind of keeping some stuff in from the original Persona 3 and not kind of updating that. Like,
I think it's probably good. I mean, original Persona 3 is kind of weird because like you don't control your party except for the main character.
yeah,
So this looks like Persona 3 and Persona 5's engine, and that's fine enough for me, you know. And as long as you have like more social link stuff, go for it.
yeah. Well, I think I know what Randy's number one game is. If we didn't make that abundantly clear already,
it's baby steps.
Yes, and also my number one game as well is without a doubt a lot of people's number one game. A lot of I know Mark is hyped for this. It was a remake, was our game of the year that it came out in 2020. I fully expect that this game will be in the running for our game of the year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, what's left to say about this game other than the fact that can it just be February 29th already? Like, I want to play this game like right now. Like,
we talked for years that all right, how many parts is Final Fantasy VII now going to be, with remake only being Midgar, and it's going to be 5-6 years between each thing. Like, it's less than 4 years between what they did in remake and now here with Rebirth, and it looks massive as all hell. They've already said there's only going to be 3 parts to this whole story. And the thing that has me so hyped about it is not only what they did at the end of remake, which completely changed the way the word remake got looked at and went way off the walls with it. And some people liked it, some people didn't. I absolutely loved it. And the fact that we've gotten so many trailers this year on Rebirth where people are going, they're showing us too much. No, it's got me so excited because they are showing us everything from the original game and how it's been upscaled to this version, and not showing us the craziness we are about to embark on. I am so excited on the weirdness that's going to happen with Zack and Cloud and Sephiroth messing with stuff, and what's going to happen with a certain scene that looks like might be the end of Rebirth, and where it's all going to go.
If they cliffhanger us for that, I'm gonna get so. I think everybody's
There's no way they could. There's no way they could cliffhanger it. But I do think that'll be the final area. Will it play out like the original game? We will find out. And I'm super, but it's just the gameplay looks great. It just looks like it's reiterated on the stuff that they did in remake. The golden saucer stuff looks like this is what we asked. Like, what are they going to do with certain parts of the Midgar section? And they're like, oh, absolutely, they're not going to do that. That was too silly. And remake went over the top with the silliness. So I'm like, golden saucer is going to be bonkers to me with all the weird stuff you could do there. And it just seems like they love to double down on this. I don't know if there's been a game I've been more hyped about in years than Rebirth. And it's because that like we were all excited for remake but cautiously optimistic about remake, and it blew me out of the water. So I have they have 100%
and all the conspiracy theories and the talk of what could happen here and there, and then like this is just going to even inflate that even more. So
Maximilian dude's going to have an 18-hour podcast after he finishes this game the first time.
Exactly. For sure. I just finished, I think, like the young Sephiroth section in Ever Crisis like yesterday. That stuff is cool, looking how that's gonna look forward. And then it's cool how they're gonna take all of this stuff and like jam it in, and we're like heading towards what it was like in Advent Children and how they're going to use all of that together. It's like,
and the fact that Advent Children is going back to theaters next month.
Yeah.
They are
That's
going
how hyped.
all in with this nonsense, and I'm so hyped. I have re-downloaded Rebirth. I'm getting ready to replay it before.
Oh
I
yeah,
hit the
remake. I started replaying that too. I'm at like
Yeah.
chapter 3, I think, again.
It's the wrong Final Fantasy movie. It should be Spirits Within. God damn it.
Rewatch that with the
Marc, I
ends.
mean,
It's still okay.
Yeah. What?
Marc, how hyped are you for this thing?
No, it should be good. And, you know, like I like the Golden Saucer section a lot. You know, hoping finally going on a date with Kate Sith. That's all I really want in life. Yeah. The dance thing looked kind of crazy, of course. It would be really funny if they subverted. I mean, you can talk about it since it's a 28-year-old
Oh, yeah.
game or whatever. If they subverted the Aerith death with Cloud just casting a Phoenix down on her, you're like, oh, she popped right back up again. Everything's cool.
I think they're gonna have somebody else in her place, actually.
It better not be my precious Sid.
Yeah, you know, that'll be interesting to see what ends up happening.
Part of me, and I've heard this theory before, that it's Cloud.
Yeah.
And I'm all in for it. Honestly, with them trying to bring Zack back and do all this stuff, for Cloud to do the sacrifice would just be amazing.
It's totally crazy how they would do that. And then the third one is full bore. Well, we're definitely in Fantasyland now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
But
less than 2 months. Less than 2 months.
It's crazy. Crazy. We're talking about that. Less than 2 months now. So that game comes out.
You both can order the $500 special edition from the Square Enix store that I'm sure they're gonna have.
No,
if I had $500 to just give away like that, yeah, maybe I would think about it. But unfortunately, I don't. So yes, just gonna have to deal with the standard edition, and that is what it is. But still, I have to work here pretty soon, so we're gonna have to kind of end it here. Thank you so much, Randy, for being on. Make sure you check out his R&R Sports Report each week. The YouTube channel will be in the description. And then, Marc and I will be here next week on the regular Friday edition to start off the year. Until then, everybody, like, subscribe, all that stuff on the W2 Network YouTube channel. Thank you for watching live. You can also listen later on podcasts. So until then, later, everyone.
Later.